Hi, I am Dr. Abhishek Joshi, and this lecture is dedicated to PSD, that is a power spectral density of the line code. So the power spectral density PSD, as we have seen in a previous lecture, the derivation using the Wiener-Khinchin's theorem. So first we will discuss about the basic block of the digital communication, then we are going to discuss about the power spectral density. So the capacity of the physical channel, that is a coaxial or the optical fiber cable, for transmitting data is much larger than the data rate of the individual source. To utilize the capacity effectively, we combine several sources by means of the digital multiplexer. So the digital multiplexing can be achieved through the frequency division or the time division, as we have already discussed. So the physical channeling, that is normally shared by several messages simultaneously. So the regenerative repeaters are used at regularly spaced interval along a digital transmission line to detect the incoming digital signals, because in digital communication we are talking about the binary signals, that is 0 and 1s, and the regenerative clean pulses for further transmission along the line. So this process periodically eliminates and thereby combats the accumulation of the noises and the signal distortion along the transmission path. The ability of such regenerative repeaters to effectively eliminate noise and signal distortion effect is one of the biggest advantage of the communication system, because we know that when we are transmitting our signal from the transmitter, due to this channel, it is adding the noise. So if this is a channel, it may be wireless channel or a wired channel, the noise is added, and at the receiver we are getting the signal. So that's why we are using these regenerative repeaters at a regular interval of distance, so that we can regenerate our clean pulses without any noise. So if the pulses are transmitted at a rate, so because we know that the single pulse having the bit duration, that is 0 to TB, and the data rate is given by RB pulses per second, we require the periodic timing of the information, the clock signal at RB, to sample the incoming pulse at the repeater. So the timing information can be extracted from the received signal itself if the line code is chosen properly. When the RZ polar signal in figure rectified its result as a periodic signal, that is a clock frequency RB, which contains the desired periodic timing signal of the frequency. So these are the requirements of regenerative repeaters. So when the signal is applied to a resonant circuit tuned to frequency RB, RB means the rate of the bit of change. So this means if we have the bit rate, and this is the time axis, and this is our single bit, and this is BT. So the time duration of the single bit is given by TB. So the rate of change of the bit is given by RB, that is equals to 1 by TB. The output, which is sinusoid of the frequency RB, can be used for tuning. The on-off signal can be expressed as a sum of the periodic signal and a polar and the random signal, shown in the figure in our next slide. So because of the presence of the periodic component, we can extract the timing information from the signal by using a resonant circuit tuned to the frequency, that is the clock frequency. So when we are talking about different line codes like polar, bipolar, unipolar, so when a bipolar signal, when rectified, becomes an on-off signaling. So hence the timing information can be extracted using the same way as that of the on-off signal. So that is why we prefer the line code which can extract the timing information, or you can say the clock information, easily. So in different line codes, the bipolars are used widely as compared to the unipolar signal. So this figure shows an on-off signal is a sum of the random polar signal and a clock frequency periodic signal. So as you can see, you have the data in a RZ format, that is 1 1 1 0 0 1 1 1 0 1 1. So this data, when it is converted to the polar form, so this is the polar form of our data, that is a digital data. Okay, and this is shows the clock information. So according to our polar data, when we have the data as 1, it is denoted by +1. When we have 0, it is denoted by -1. Here also it is minus. Similarly, it continues, okay, and this is time axis. So the timing information can be easily generated using the regenerative repeaters. So what are the properties of the line code which is analyzed while selecting a particular line code or a specific line code? So the first important property of the line code is the transmission bandwidth. So what should be the transmission bandwidth? And it should be very less as compared to your channel. So the transmission should be as small as possible. So this is the requirement of the digital communication system. So the power efficiency for a given bandwidth and a specified detection error rate, the transmitted power should be as low as possible. So how we can analyze the power efficiency? The power efficiency can be analyzed simply by the power spectral density. And how we can calculate the power spectral density, we have discussed in unit 1, as we have seen that the Fourier transform of the autocorrelation function will give you the power spectral density, and according to the power spectral density we can find the power efficiency. The third most important point is the error detection and correction capability. So it is desirable to detect and preferably correct the detection error. So when we are talking about the polar, so in polar signaling, a signal error will cause the bipolar violation and cause easily be detected. So last and the most important is the line coding. So favorable power spectral density, it is desirable to have the 0 power spectral density at DC. DC means at direct current, or you can say frequency equals to 0 Hertz. The power spectral density should be as small as possible, or you can say the power spectral density should be 0. This is the ideal case. So we can get, by choosing a particular line code, we can have the 0 power spectral density at DC. So because of the AC coupling and the transformers are often used at the repeaters, significant power in the low frequency component should be avoided because it causes the DC wanders in the pulse stream when AC coupling is used. So now the most important topic of this lecture is the power spectral density of line code. So we have to analyze the power spectral density of various line code in this lecture. So what we are going to consider, first we are going to consider a generic line code, or you can say the pulse train. Okay, so the generic pulse PT whose corresponding Fourier transform is given by PF. So we can denote the line code at a symbol at the time k. So we are considering the k time, its strength is given by AK. So when the transmission rate is RB, that is equals to 1 by TV, as I have discussed previously in this lecture. So pulses per second, the line code generates a pulse train constructed from the basic pulse PT with the amplitude AK. So amplitude we are considering AK, or you can say the strength of the pulse is AK. So starting at the time, that is T equals to K times TV. In other words, the kth symbol can be transmitted as, so if we want to transmit the kth symbol, it is given by the amplitude, or you can say the strength of the pulse, AK multiplied by the pulse train, that is P T minus K times TV when we are talking about the kth pulse. Okay. So counting a successive of the symbol, the transmission, that is TB. So TB is the transmission time. The second, the baseband signal of is the pulse train of the form. The pulse train of the form is given by YT. YT is nothing but the train of the pulses, and it's nothing but the amplitude AK, or you can say the signal strength multiplied by the pulse and summation. So this will give you the entire pulse train, that is P T minus K times TV. So we have this pulse given by PT, and it's having the pulse with a shape in this form. So here we are not considering the rectangular pulse, which is the most used in the digital communication, but we are using the pulse which is used or which is transmitted practically, because practically rectangular pulses are not transmitted. We will discuss the reason why it is not transmitted in this lecture only. So when we are converting this pulse pt in the pulse of train of pulses in a polar format, as you can see, these are nothing but the PAM signals for a given pulse. So when we are talking about the impulse of this train, so when we are talking about the impulses of the same pulse, it is nothing but it is having the width of the pulse that is equals to 0. Okay. Here we see the pulse width is from 0 to TB, and xt is given by our PAM signal. So these are the PAM signal or PAM impulses. Okay. So we can analyze this scenario using this block diagram. We have the signal xt, that is our impulses, given to this response st, that is equals to the pulse train when we are multiplying this pulse. So here this pulse is multiplied with the impulses, and what we get is we get this yt. So yt is nothing but the output, or you can say the multiplication of this pulse with this. So what we will get is the impulses with the practical form of the pulses. So random pulse amplitude modulated signal and its generation from a PAM impulses is shown in this figure. So same figure we are going to use. So for the analysis we are considering 3 pulses, that is a k minus 1 TB pulse, kth pulse, that is ktb, and k plus 1 TB pulse. So these pulses are considered for the analysis. So before the multiplication of the pulse, that is the pulse pt, that is, and multiplied by the impulses. So when we are considering the pulse and the impulses, so again we are considering this pulse, that is k minus TB, and the amplitude of this impulse is ak minus 1, and the k times TB pulse with the amplitude ak, and k plus 1 plus into TB. So for the analysis or for the derivation of the generic pulse, we are considering these 3 pulses. Accordingly, we will calculate the autocorrelation function, and using the autocorrelation function we can find the power spectral density. So the values ak are the random and depend on the line code or line coder input, and the line code itself yt is a pulse amplitude modulated PAM signal, and the on off polar and bipolar line code are all cases of the pulse train yt, where ak takes on the value 0, 1 and or minus 1 randomly, subject to some constraints. So analyze many line code accordingly to the power spectral density, that is PSD of yt depends on both, that is the amplitude or you can say the strength of the signal, as well as on the shape of the pulse, that is pt. So if the pulse shape pt changes, we may have to derive the power spectral density all over again. So that's why we have considered the generic pulses. So the impulses are at the interval of TB, that is a bit duration, and the strength, or that is the area of the kth impulse, that is ak. So when we are considering the impulse, it is only having this height ak, okay, because it is having height hk multiplied by the width. But if the width is equals to 0, then it is simply ak equals to hk. So if xt is applied to the input of the filter that has a unit impulse response, that is ht equals to pt, as shown in the figure which was shown in previous slide, the output will be the impulse train, that is yt in figure b. As we can see in this figure, this is a figure b, that is a multiplication of this signal and this signal. So the power spectral density is given by y of f, that is the Fourier transform of the pulse pt. So if we have the pulse given by pt, its Fourier transform is given by p of f, and multiply by the power spectral density of the impulses, that is xt. So we can now derive the autocorrelation function. So if we have this pulse, we can find the autocorrelation function Rx tau, the time autocorrelation function of the impulse train xt, this can be conveniently done by considering the impulses as a limiting form of the rectangular pulses. So that's why we are not considering the rectangular pulses, we are considering the limiting form of the rectangular pulses. As shown in figure A, each pulse has a width. So here we are considering the width of the impulses, that is width tends to 0, and the kth pulse having the height. So we can find the height of the pulse, that is hk is given by ak by epsilon, because area of this rectangular pulse, when we are talking about the rectangular pulse, is having the width epsilon and the height hk, then the area under the curve will give you the strength of the signal, that is ak, which is given by ak equals to hk into epsilon. So when we are multiplying these two, we can write hk is nothing but ak by epsilon. So when we are talking about epsilon tends to 0, this means the height will be infinite. Okay. So the scenario, as we can see from the figure, so figure shows the derivation of the PSD of the random PAM signal, that is a pulse amplitude modulated signal, with a very narrow width of the pulse, that is epsilon, and the height is given by hk, that is ak by epsilon. So here we can see the impulses, again the three pulses we are considering, that is k minus 1 TB, k TB and k plus 1 TB, having the width, that is epsilon, and the height of these three pulses are hk minus 1, hk and hk plus 1. When we are talking about there is a delay in the pulse. Now this delay in the pulse is given by the tau. So the bold pulse is showing the original pulse and the dashed pulse is showing the delayed pulse. Both the pulses are having the same height, that is hk and hk respectively, only there is a timing difference that is given by tau. So timing difference is tau here. So the width of the pulse is epsilon and the delay is given by tau. So this overlapping area between these two pulses is given by epsilon minus tau for the kth, or you can say kt minus tb. So for this we have the autocorrelation function, that is rx0. So we have the hk given by k times tb, and when we are talking about the kth pulse with k plus 1 pulse, so it is given by, that is k plus 1, hk plus 1 and hk. So overlapping area will be very small when we are talking about kth and k plus 1 pulse. So when we find the autocorrelation between these two pulses, it will be the overlapping area is given by epsilon plus tb minus tau, because we know that the bit duration is tb. So accordingly we have this pulse, and we have the triangular forms. The triangular form of these pulses are minus 4 TB, 3 TB, minus 2 TB, TB, epsilon, TB, 2 TB, and for the different pulses. So this is the autocorrelation function R0, R1, R2, R3, and for the timing, or you can say the rate, it is given by R0 by TB, R1 by TB, R2 by TB, R3 by TB, R4 by TB. So these are showing the autocorrelation function for kth pulse with kth pulse, kth pulse with k plus 1 pulse. So kth pulse with kth pulse, it will be R0, because delay will be equal to 0. When we are talking about kth pulse with k plus 1 pulse, so we'll call it as R1. Similarly, we'll call it as kth pulse with k plus 2 pulse, it is R2. Okay, so these are showing the autocorrelation function of the pulses having the 1 bit duration, delay by 1 bit, 2 bit, 3 bit, 4 bit respectively. So if we designate the corresponding rectangular pulse train by xt, then we can define the rx tau, that is equals to limit t tends to infinite 1 by t and integration from minus t by 2 to t by 2 and xt into xt minus tau. So this is the definition of the autocorrelation function in a continuous domain. So because rx tau is an even function of tau, we can need to consider only the positive case or the positive delay tau. To begin with, consider the tau that is less than the width of the pulse, that is epsilon. The area associated with the kth pulse is given by hk square into epsilon minus tau. So as we have seen here, the width is given by epsilon minus tau and the height of the pulse is hk. So overlapping area is directly we can write, that is hk, that is the height of the current pulse with a delayed version of this pulse. Both are having the height hk and hk, and the overlapping area is given by epsilon minus tau. So hk into hk will be hk square, and we have this epsilon minus tau factor. So Rx tau we can directly write as limit t tends to infinite 1 by t summation hk square epsilon minus tau. So here limit t tends to infinite 1 by t summation for k ak square epsilon minus tau by epsilon square, that is equals to r naught by epsilon tb 1 minus tau by epsilon. So this will be the autocorrelation function Rx. So where the first autocorrelation function, that is the kth pulse with kth pulse, is given by R0. So it can be written simply as R naught, that is limit t tends to infinite tb by t. So here we have taken t outside, and summation ak square, that is because we have simply the strength of the signals ak and ak. So it will be simply ak square. So the averaging interval t, where we have the nth pulses, so it is given by n tends to infinite. So we, in the digital communication, we have infinite number of pulses. It's not about the single pulse, we have the infinite number of pulses which is transmitted. So we are considering the infinite number of pulses. We can write this as given by the total time interval t divided by the single bit duration. So if we have the infinite pulses, or you can say nth number of pulses, so if we have the single bit duration tb, so we can find the total number, or the total duration is, for example, from 0 to t. So we can find the total number of pulses n dividing the entire interval t divided by the single bit duration, that is tb. We can find the total number of pulses in the interval. So R naught is given by limit n tends to infinite 1 by n summation of ak square, and R naught is the time average of the square of the pulse amplitude ak. Using our time average notation, we can express R naught as, so R naught we can write as limit n tends to infinite 1 by n summation of ak square, that is equals to ak square. So we have this Rx tau, that is an autocorrelation function having the delay tau, is an even function of tau, where Rx tau is equals to R naught by epsilon tb, and multiply with 1 minus tau by epsilon, where tau is less than epsilon. So Rx tau will have the another triangular pulse of the width, that is given by 2 epsilon centered at tau equals to tb, which is the single bit duration, because we have discussed that we have the signal xt and the bit duration is from 0 to tb if this is the time axis, and this is xt. So for the height r1 by epsilon tb, where we have the r1, that is a autocorrelation function of the kth pulse with k plus 1 pulse. So we are denoting it by r1. It is given by limit t tends to infinite tb by t summation of ak plus 1, and limit t tends to infinite 1 by n summation ak plus 1, and this is nothing but that average of ak into ak plus 1. So Rn can, similarly we can write the Rn is essentially the discrete autocorrelation function of the line code symbol, that is ak Rn, that is limit t tends to infinite tb by t summation of k and ak plus n. So for when we are finding the autocorrelation function of the kth pulse with k plus n pulse, we can find simply by using the formula, that is tb by t summation of ak into ak plus 1. So limit t n tends to infinite 1 by n summation of ak plus 1, and it is given by the strength, that is ak into ak plus 1 average. To find the Rx tau, we can find let, that is epsilon tends to 0 in Rx tau, as we have epsilon tends to 0, the width of each triangular pulse is equals to 0 when we are considering the height as infinite height. In such way the area is still finite. So Rx tau is given by 1 by tb, that is summation n equals to minus infinite to infinite Rn multiplied by the impulses. Impulse is given by delta t tau minus n times tb. So the power spectral density, that is xf, is the Fourier transform of Rx tau. So the power spectral density is given by, that is a Fourier transform of the autocorrelation function. So we have the autocorrelation function. So for Fourier transform is simply we are multiplying it by 1 by tb summation of n equals to minus infinite to infinite Rn e raised to power minus j n 2 pi f dB, recognizing that it is an even symmetry, the autocorrelation function having the even symmetry. So r of minus n is equals to r of n because Rx is even. So we can write the power spectral density, that is Sxf, that is equals to 1 upon Tb R naught, that is the first autocorrelation function with kth pulse with the kth pulse, plus 2 summation Rn cos of 2 pi f dB. So the input xt to the filter with the impulse response, that is ht equals to pt, results in the output waveform, that is the impulse train shown in the figure. As you can see here, this we have already shown. Here we have the yt. When we are multiplying pt by xt, we are getting yt, or you can say xt is the input, pt we are multiplying, this is the yt. So the power spectral density SYF is given by pf whole square xx square. So we can directly write, that is a Fourier transform of pt is pf, the transfer function of the filter is given by hf equals to pf. So the power spectral density is SYF, that is pf is whole square magnitude and xsf. So this term is exactly same, only we have substituted the value of the power spectral density of xt, so it is substituted here. So 1 by Tb summation of n equals to minus infinite to plus infinite Rn e raised to power minus j to and 2 pi f dB. So this is simply written in form of R naught plus twice of in the even function with the even symmetry Rn cos of 2 pi f ct. So we have considered only the cos function. So first we are considering the polar case. So when we know that in polar case we have signals plus 1 or minus 1. So if we are talking about R naught with the same pulse, so ak square, we have to take ak square, the summation of ak square we have to take. So in polar signal 1 is transmitted by the pulse pt and 0 is transmitted by minus pt. In this case ak is equally likely be 1 and minus 1. So R naught is given by limit n tends to infinite 1 by n summation of ak square. So there are n pulses and ak square equals to 1. So it may be plus or minus, doesn't make any difference because ak square will be equal to 1, and each one of the summation, the right hand side is n. So we have this R naught, that is equals to 1 by n into n, because we have n number of pulses. So the autocorrelation function with kth pulse is given by 1. So moreover, if we are finding the kth pulse with the k plus 1 pulse, so we have 4 number of combination, minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 minus 1 plus 1. So we have 1 minus 1 minus 1 and 1. So equal probable. So that's why we are getting R1, that is equals to 1 by 2 into 1 and n by 2 minus 1. So it will be equal to 0. So we can write, so similarly we can write the kth pulse with k plus n pulse, it equals to 0. So or the power spectral density, we have only one term, that is R naught, and that is equals to 1. So substituting in this expression, we are getting the power spectral density SYF as pf whole square by Tb. Similarly, we can find, we can consider these pulses as a shape of the rectangular pulse given by pi, that is given by t by Tb by 2 pi of t by Tb. So the Fourier transform is given by the sinc function of the rectangular pulse. So we have the power spectral density in terms of the sinc function, that is Tb by 4 sinc square pi f Tb by 2. So this is the power spectral density in case of the polar. We have, as we can see, it is having the width, that is Tb by 2, and it is oscillating at 2 Tb minus 2 Tb. So the power spectral density is showing that the line code constructing a DC null by the pulse shaping. So how we can avoid the null by DC? So considering SYF, the power spectral density of the line code contains a factor, that is pf whole square. We can force the power spectral density to have the DC null by selecting a pulse pt at pf is 0 at the DC, that is f equals to 0. So it is given by pf, that is the integration from minus infinite to infinite pt raised to power minus j 2 pi f dt. So it is given by p naught f, that is equals to the shape of the pulse shape. So this is showing the Manchester code and the timing signal of the Manchester code. It's showing that the pulse shape, when you are using the pulse shape of Manchester code, we can easily detect and correct our error. So similarly, we have got the, for on off signaling, R naught is given by 1 by 2. So same formula of kth pulse, with the kth pulse we have calculated, and to compute the Rn we have again the kth pulse with k plus n, we are getting 1 by 4. So the power spectral density, when we are substituting the values of R naught and Rn in the formula, we have 1 by 2 TB plus 1 by 4 TB and summation e raised to power minus j to pi f. So it is given by 1 by 4 TB by pulse. So this is the final expression of the line coding scheme and the power spectral density, and the shape of this pulse is having again the sinc square, and we have for on off signaling, this is the power spectral density of the sinc square. The time average of the on off signal is given by 2 E by TB, and for in the case of bipolar signaling, where we are denoting with the alternate 1 plus 1 and minus 1 to represent 1 and 0. So on R naught is calculated as 1 by 2, R1 is given by minus 1 by 4. Similarly, we can find R2 also, that is equals to 0, and Rn is given by limit ends to infinite 1 by n summation of ak plus n. So Rn is given by, that is equals to 0. So when we compare the power spectral density, it is given by the sinc function, that is, and the sine square. That is why we are getting null here. When we compare the polar, split phase and polar case, same we can draw the power spectral density here also for the pulse. So the power spectral density for polar, bipolar, split phase signal normalized for the equal power. So we have the half width rectangular pulses are used, and we have compared, and we can see the bipolar and split phase are having the frequency equals to 0, or you can say at frequency equals to 0 we don't have any power. Okay. So in this lecture we have discussed about the PSD of varial line code. So here we are going to stop this lecture. Thank you.